Speech is the breath of the lips of the Holy One, blessed be He. To abuse it is to make it into a wild blast or a raging storm, according to Psalm 148:8. This raging storm wind is a great accuser, the source of all trials and challenges which confront man. This wild spirit wastes away man's flesh. It is the root of all slander and falsehood and evil which people speak about each other. And it is called the end of all flesh, according to Genesis 6:13. Because it works for destruction of man's flesh and life. This comes from abusing the faculty of speech. If speech can be so powerful that it can destroy, can you imagine how powerful it is to build and to mend and to fix? It says, it is a great thing if you preserve the learning of the Torah in spite of the poverty of your trials and pressures and difficulties. This is the way to achieve perfection in your speech. A thread of loving kindness will draw down over you, and the forces of stern justice and impure raging against you will be thrust aside. Your speech will become cleansed and elevated. The words will flow out in a song of praise to God. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says that a person who begins to sanctify their speech and be able, that it will draw down a whole new fresh relationship with the Creator of the universe just by the power of your speech. How you speak to other people has everything to do with how God then relates to us. Empty words devoid of holiness give strength to the temples of idolatry. This is a really interesting idea. The hand of falsehood is strengthened and exile is deepened. All contact with spirituality in the land of Israel becomes lost. Truth is concealed, divisiveness and strife multiply. So the idea is if I use idle, empty words or words of destruction toward another person, I am inducing wisdom flees from me. My Torah flees from me. I will then lack the ability to be able to discern what is true and not true. Think about this for a moment. If I'm constantly denigrating another human being, it says that all of a sudden you build an illusion of your world. A completely different illusion. Have you ever talked to someone who they're ranting and raving about another person or issue, and you're going, that's not even true. I mean, they're seeing this wrong. I mean, that is not the truth. What happens is a person who doesn't have control of their speech all of a sudden will develop an illusional world that is absolutely false. It's not true at all. It says talking in a derogatory way about other person, of other people, reinforces the power of fantasy and illusion within us. When people use bad language and speak derogatory about others, their da'at or their knowledge and understanding is taken away from them, and they fall from the love of God into an animalistic passion and desire. If you want to feed the yetzer, the animal nature, begin to act like an animal and be vicious toward other people. It will feed that. It says the source of these passions and desire is in the faculty of fantasy and imagination, which is part of man's animal nature. It feeds upon falsehood and slander. It directly opposes to the faculty of memory through which we keep true facts of our situation and our eternal destiny. So this idea that my negative speech and evil speech towards someone else feeds my animalistic nature. When the animalistic nature gets fed, then its world turns into a very self-centered animalistic world. We've seen dogs. If you have dogs at your house, they get jealous of each other. Have you ever seen that? You pet one, and the other one comes in and wants its head up under it. It's an animal. It doesn't know anything else but I want to feel special too, right? And you have to try to give them all that special kind of attention. Do cats do that? I think cats do. I don't know. Not so much. Cats are kind of snooty. Yeah, they don't care whether you like them or not. They're just there, right? But it's the animalistic nature. If someone were to come to me and say, but you don't understand, people are so mean to me, and they're horrible to me, and they say all kinds of horrible things to me, and I'm constantly I'm constantly just having problems. problems with my friends, with my parents, with my neighbor, then who is the problem? You understand? If everybody is giving that one person a rash, then I have to ask, what is that person speaking? How are they talking? What's the power of their speech? Is it possible that that person never says anything negative to those other people, but speaks it at home? Somehow, something is awry, because the average person does not go around in life having that much conflict with everybody. At some point, you have to look at yourself. It says, you must speak word, okay, this is really good. Rabbi Nachman says that in this process, you have to serve Hashem or struggle to combat this with every drop of blood in your body. I mean, it's so important to elevate your speech to a holy level, sanctified level, that you have got to do it. It is so imperative that there is no way to get around it, that if you want to succeed in your spiritual walk, you must do this, struggle to control and to possess, take control of your speech. Every word that comes out of your mouth should be done with like every drop of blood, like just with sweat and travail. You've got to control it. And that's hard. Some people have harder time than others, I think. Then it says you will find peace, and the spirit of strife and contention will be broken. If a person has a life of contention and strife, then bottom line, their speech is creating that vessel. Remember, we can have a vessel for good or a vessel for bad, right? So if a person has constant strife in their home, then they need to check how they are talking and communicating with others, friends, etc. It says, for contention and rivalry have their source in the drops of blood with which a person has not yet served God. I'm going to say it again. For contention and rivalry have their source in the drops of blood with which a person has not yet served God. Now, what does it mean to serve Him with every drop of blood? Meaning that you become completely consumed in your passion to God to serve God. And we can talk about serving Him by go feeding the poor or giving tzedakah. But if you really want to serve God, just keep your mouth shut and speak positive things when it does open. Right? Speak hope and life. That's serving Hashem. Serving it with the utmost of passion. So instead of walking in and puking all over everyone, walk in and elevate somebody. It's powerful. It says, the words of Torah and prayer have the power to rise up the fallen sparks and restore and renew the fallen worlds. The one who speaks them is accounted as if he has created heaven and earth and all worlds afresh. We must speak only words of holiness and nothing else. Then the sparks will be raised up, the worlds will be restored, and Mashiach will come.